Good morning and welcome to the 27th Annual Ontario Police Memorial Foundation Ceremony of Remembrance, live from Queen's Park. I'm Julia Supa. Each year on the first Sunday in May, hundreds of officers from across the province gather to honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Heroes in life, not death. There are currently 284 names engraved on the memorial wall, and this year, a historical name has been added, that of Lance Corporal John Baker, who died December 1st, 1915, after a motor vehicle struck him while directing traffic in Toronto. We also want to acknowledge that Sergeant Brandon Malcolm died in the line of duty during a motor vehicle collision last week and will be added to the wall officially next year. In just a few moments, all the names will be read, followed by the regimental parade and the official ceremony of remembrance. Our readers this year are Rishi Laird from the Ottawa Police Service and Michael Huang from the Toronto Police Service. Thank you for watching. I'm Julia Supa. To learn more about the Ontario Police Memorial Foundation, visit opmf.ca.
High County Constable John Fisk, King Township, 1804. Constable Timothy C. Pomeroy, Middlesex County OPP, 1829. Constable Charles Richards, Port Robinson, 1854. County Constable John Morrison, Russell County, 1880. Constable William Pope, London, 1891. Constable John R. Davey, Cornwall, 1892. Detective Henry H. Fair, London, 1892. Constable Robert Rankin, Chatham, 1893. Constable William Lindsay, Comer OPP, 1894. Constable Alexander Wright, Brockville, 1895. Constable John Hickey, Brantford, 1897. Constable Michael Toohey, London, 1898. Constable William Boyd, York County, 1901. Constable James Barron, Hamilton, 1903. Provincial Constable William Irving Jr., Webwood OPP, 1904. Constable Archibald Powell, Woodstock, 1907. Constable John Acton, Toronto, 1908. Constable Wilford Fairless, Rainy River, 1910. High County Constable Alfred F. H. Campo, Essex County, 1912.
Chief John A. McCarthy, Jr., Stratford, 1913. Constable Matthew Hamilton, Stratford, 1913. Lance Corporal John Baker, Canadian Provo Corp, 1915. Constable William Rourke, Cobourg, 1915. Detective Frank A. Williams, Toronto, 1918. Sergeant Samuel J. Arniel, Kingston, 1919. Constable George Armstrong, Nipigon, 1919. County Constable Albert C. Springstead, Wentworth County, 1919. Chief Angus J. McClellan, Port Arthur, 1920. Constable Richard A. Beard, Napanee, OPP, 1921. Constable Reginald Pryor, Hamilton, 1921. County Constable William L. Pickard, Kent County, 1922. Constable William M. Holloway, Guelph, 1922. Constable John R. Smythe, Fort Erie, OPP, 1922. Constable Joseph Truman Thorold, 1922. Constable Fred Lefebvre, North Bay, 1923. Sergeant John Urquhart, Cobalt OPP, 1923. Traffic Officer John E. Waddle, London, 1925. County Constable Everest Laframboise, Essex County, 1925.
Constable Frederick Rains, Hamilton, 1925. Temperance Inspector Thomas H. Constable, Cochrane, 1926. Constable Charles W. St. Charles, Madoc, 1926. Traffic Officer William O. K. McGilvery, Department of Highways, Toronto, 1927. Traffic Officer Andrew McKay, Department of Highways, Newmarket, 1927. Traffic Officer Leigh W. Metcalf, Department of Highways, Grimsby, 1927. Traffic Officer Hiram F. O'Callahan, Department of Highways, Kemptville, 1928. Constable Norman F. Maker, Peterborough OPP, 1928. County Constable Samuel J. Vanstone, Ontario County, 1928. Constable Albert E. Fisher, Toronto, 1928. Chief Edward Lavery, Prescott Police, 1928. Traffic Officer Miles Campbell, Department of Highways, Ottawa, 1929. Detective William R. Clark, Hamilton, 1929. Constable Thomas I. Kehoe, Bancroft, 1929. Traffic Officer Almer F. H. Wilson, Department of Highways, Leamington, 1929. Traffic Officer Fred Bingley, Department of Highways, Hagersville, 1929. Sergeant Thomas Kirk, York County, 1930. Constable James A. McNichol, Crowland Township, 1930. Constable Roy A. McQuillan, Toronto, 1930.
Constable Blair C. Brown, Trenton, 1931. Constable John F. Montgomery, Westboro OPP, 1931. Chief John W. Burden, Strathroy, 1931. Constable Albert J. Nault, Sudbury, 1931. Constable Charles Heffron, Brampton OPP, 1932. Constable Daniel J. Craig, Chesterville, 1932. Constable Joseph De Ferrari, Toronto, 1932. Constable Russell Lemon, Kitchener OPP, 1934. Constable Colin C. McGregor, St. Thomas, 1934. Chief Thomas McCann, East York Township, 1934. Constable Edward McMaster, Toronto, 1935. Constable Edward Knox, Toronto, 1935. Constable George E. J. Lewis, Sarnia, 1936. Constable Orville E. Story, Owen Sound OPP, 1936. Constable Robert C. Malig, Canadian National Railway, 1937. Constable George E. Horan, Belleville RCMP, 1937. Sergeant Frederick Davidson, Sudbury, 1937. Constable David D. Beckett, Windsor, 1937. Constable Bartlett Smith, Stamford Center OPP, 1937.
Constable Robert D. Eddington, Warren OPP, 1938. Constable Donald C. Sherville, Hamilton OPP, 1938. Detective James H. Watson, Toronto, 1938. Constable Elmer A. Shepard, Kirkland Lake OPP, 1938. Detective Sergeant Thomas A. Whitelaw, Metropolitan Toronto, 1938. Constable Frederick R. T. Blucher, Port Credit OPP, 1939. Constable Alfred J. Ferguson, Brockville OPP, 1940. Constable Harold H. Dent, Rockland OPP, 1940. Constable Donald L. Pickle, Mimico OPP, 1940. County Constable Harry Fordham, Elgin County, 1942. Constable John W. Scott, Toronto, 1942. Constable John Moyes, Peterborough, 1942. Chief Thomas Espy, Pembroke, 1943. Constable Charles F. Hayner, Toronto, 1943. Constable George R. Vanderveer, Sarnia, 1944. Constable John Tevens, Guelph, 1945. Constable Robert W. Duncan, Bowmanville OPP, 1945. Detective Thomas Stoneman, Ottawa, 1945. Constable Robert A. Wright, Toronto, 1945.
Constable Francis A. Graham, Windsor, 1947. Constable Douglas Reynolds, Chatham, 1947. Constable Merritt C. Gray, Kingston, 1948. Constable George Yulee, Brampton, OPP, 1948. Constable James B. Henderson, Kingston RCMP, 1948. Constable Reginald G. Morden, Little Current OPP, 1949. Constable Edward Terrell, Sudbury, 1949. Constable Jerry Dalt, Sudbury, 1949. Constable John Ferguson, Exeter, OPP, 1949. Constable Cecil Holden, Toronto, 1950. Constable Frank Hare, Port Dover, 1951. Sergeant Joseph R. Battersby, Toronto, 1951. Constable Millard A. Brennan, Kingston, 1951. County Constable Mount A. Wood, Lennox and Addington County, 1951. Sergeant of Detectives Edmund Tong, Toronto, 1952. Detective Sergeant James Priest, Toronto, 1952. Corporal Harold T. Shaughnessy, Port Colborne, OPP, 1953. Corporal Henry Gilchrist, Tillsonburg, OPP, 1954. Constable Kenneth Lennon, Etobicoke Township, 1954.
Constable George Constantino, Ottawa, 1954. Constable Ernest Paul, Copper Cliff, 1955. Constable John A. C. Behan, Perth OPP, 1956. Constable Louis R. Durant, Markham Township, 1956. Sergeant Claire J. McGillen, Peterborough, 1957. Constable Philip H. Delarue, Matheson OPP, 1957. Constable Peter R. Sebern, Kenora OPP, 1957. Constable Henry J. Harper, Gananoque OPP, 1957. Constable Ronald Pitt, Morrisburg, 1957. Constable George W. Smith, Windsor, 1957. Corporal Herbert M. Smart, Toronto RCMP, 1958. Constable Maurice Melnichuk, Toronto RCMP, 1958. Constable George H. E. Ransom, Aurelia RCMP, 1958. Constable Glenn F. Farrow, Aurelia RCMP, 1958. Constable David M. Perry, Aurelia RCMP, 1958. Constable Willis J. Jacob, Barrie OPP, 1958. Constable Calvin R. Fulford, Ear Falls OPP, 1958. Constable John B. Perkins, Metropolitan Toronto, 1959. Constable Edward R. Wickens, Aurelia OPP, 1960.
Constable Theodore D. Christensen, Metropolitan Toronto, 1961. Constable Dennis J. Winstanley, Stamford Township, 1962. Constable Frederick J. Nash, Metropolitan Toronto, 1962. Corporal James S. McDonald, Pembroke OPP, 1962. Constable David R. Gregory, Hamilton, 1962. Constable Thomas J. Black, Woodstock, 1962. Constable Harley Highland, Sandwich East Township, 1963. Constable Jeffrey Armstrong, Ottawa, 1963. Constable Arthur T. Truman, Metropolitan Toronto, 1963. Constable Patrick C. Armstrong, Powassan, OPP, 1963. Detective Kenneth J. Evans, Metropolitan Toronto, 1963. Detective Sergeant John H. Bassett, Metropolitan Toronto, 1963. Constable Walter E. Macule, Guelph, 1964. Constable Alexander M. Proden, Dutton OPP, 1964. Sergeant Laurier C. Quisnell, Sudbury, 1965. Constable Ronald F. Webster, Toronto Township, 1966. Constable John R. Mackey, Rockcliffe OPP, 1966. Constable Edward G. Holdsworth, Whitworth Township, 1966. Constable Thomas J. Emery, Downsview OPP, 1966.
Constable James I. Hamilton, Listowel OPP, 1967. Retired Chief Cully F. Roche, Listowel, 1967. Constable Gerald F. Mills, Whitchurch Township, 1968. Constable Peter J. Kirk, Hawkesbury OPP, 1968. Constable Samuel E. Ankenman, Sebringville OPP, 1968. Constable Bradford E. Brown, Sudbury OPP, 1968. Detective Sergeant Lorne J. Chapadis, Peterborough OPP, 1968. Corporal James Smith, Peterborough OPP, 1968. Sergeant John C. McMurrick, Hamilton, 1968. Constable Robert C. Carrick, Sandwich West Township, 1969. Constable David Goldsworthy, Metropolitan Toronto, 1969. Sergeant David Tuckey, Ottawa, 1970. Constable William R. Rogers, Petrolia OPP, 1970. Constable Stephen H. Schultz, Brantford OPP, 1970. Constable Mark L. Holden, Trenton, 1970. Constable John C. A. Verrill, Oakville OPP, 1971. Constable Donald H. Lewis, Metropolitan Toronto, 1972. Detective Douglas T. Sinclair, Metropolitan Toronto, 1972. Detective Michael Irwin, Metropolitan Toronto, 1972.
Constable Claire L. Lackey, Little Current OPP, 1972. Constable James Lothian, Metropolitan Toronto, 1973. Constable Leslie Maitland, Metropolitan Toronto, 1973. Corporal Evan V. Gilmore, Spanish OPP, 1973. Detective Thomas B. Cooper, Kingston, 1973. Constable Leonard G. Slater, North Bay, 1973. Constable Vaughn B. McKay, Sudbury, OPP, 1973. Constable Luciano J. De Simone, Niagara Regional, 1974. Constable Gerald A. Thompson, Kemptville, OPP, 1975. Constable Maurice R.J. Chatterson, Forest OPP, 1975. Constable Gary V. MacDonald, Forest OPP, 1975. Detective Ronald G. Spruill, Peel Regional, 1975. Constable Lee E. Wilson, Metropolitan Toronto, 1975. Corporal Donald R. Irwin, Kitchener OPP, 1976. Corporal Ronald E. Lee, Dowling OPP, 1976. Constable Paul G. Gosling, Metropolitan Toronto, 1976. Constable David C. Kirkwood, Ottawa, 1977. Sergeant Ronald E. McKean, Collingwood, 1977. Constable John S. Kuzner, Thunder Bay, 1978.
Constable William I. Seward, Toronto, RCMP, 1978. Constable James L. Begbie, Trenton, 1978. Constable John Lau, Kingston, 1978. Constable Henry Snedden, Metropolitan Toronto, 1978. Constable Paul E. Patterson, Oak Ridges, OPP, 1978. Constable Duncan T. McAleese, Simcoe OPP, 1980. Constable George H. Bennett, Aurelia OPP, 1980. Constable Michael W. Sweet, Metropolitan Toronto, 1980. Constable Thomas Hicks, Sudbury, OPP, 1980. Constable William F. Shores, Dutton, OPP, 1980. Constable Richard M. Verdecchia, Huntsville, OPP, 1981. Constable Kenneth M. Sweat, Ottawa, OPP, 1981. Constable Percival B. Cummins, Metropolitan Toronto, 1981. Constable Barry F. McKinnon, Hamilton, RCMP, 1981. Constable William H. Smith, North Bay, OPP, 1982. Detective Inspector Lorne I. Foran, Toronto, OPP, 1982. Constable Richard J. C. Hopkins, Mount Forest, OPP, 1982. Detective William T. Hawkins, Peel Regional, 1982. Constable Volker H. Shea, Peel Regional, 1982.
Constable Russell O'Connor, Ottawa, 1983. Constable Bruce K. Crew, Godrich, OPP, 1983. Constable David W. Utman, Nepean, 1983. Corporal William F. McIntyre, Toronto, OPP, 1984. Constable Douglas F. Tribling. York Regional, 1984. Constable Dwayne B. Pucala. Peel Regional, 1984. Constable David A. Dunmore. Metropolitan Toronto, 1984. Constable John G. Ross. Woodstock OPP, 1984. Constable William J. Grant. York Regional, 1984. Constable Vernon L. Miller. Matheson OPP, 1984. Constable Richard J. McLaughlin. Spanish OPP, 1985. Constable Donald C. Campbell. Kincardine OPP, 1985. Constable Mario J.E. Tessier. Ottawa RCMP, 1985. Constable Randall F. Skidmore. Coboconk OPP, 1986. Corporal Maurice R. Lavoie. Little Current OPP, 1986. Constable Stephen J. Peasel. Niagara Regional, 1988. Constable Hugh G. M. Lynn. Metropolitan Toronto, 1988. Constable John R. Grogowski. Niagara Falls OPP, 1989. Constable Thomas J. Cooper. Grassy Narrows OPP, 1991.
Constable Brian J. Hutchinson, Ottawa RCMP, 1991. Constable Scott W. D. Rossiter, Ingersoll, 1991. Constable Andrew B. Gordon, Madoc OPP, 1992. Constable Vicky Lynn Wilson, Durham, 1992. Constable Jeffrey Paolozzi, Niagara Regional, 1993. Constable Richard E. Neisted, Minden, OPP, 1993. Constable Joseph J. McDonald, Sudbury Regional, 1993. Constable Jean J. A. Deforge, Castleman, OPP, 1993. Constable Richard M. Jean, Castleman, OPP, 1993. Constable Albert S. Taylor, Nicatchawenen First Nation, 1993. Constable Todd E. Bayless, Metropolitan Toronto, 1994. Constable John W. Knight, Metropolitan Toronto, 1994. Constable Kenneth Y. Roy, South Porcupine, OPP, 1995. Constable Michael W. Gula, Niagara Falls OPP, 1996. Constable Thomas P. Coffin, Midland OPP, 1997. Detective Constable William D.J. Hancox, Toronto, 1998. Constable David R. Nicholson, Waterloo Regional, 1998. Detective Constable Keith A. Badger, Caledon OPP, 1998. Sergeant Richard T. McDonald, Sudbury Regional, 1999.
Constable Charles Mercier, Niagara Falls OPP, 1999. Constable James C. McFadden, Chatham-Kent OPP, 1999. Sergeant Margaret J. Eve, Chatham-Kent OPP, 2000. Constable Laura J. Ellis, Toronto, 2002. Constable Paul Neutert, Walpole Island First Nation, 2002. Constable Alan Kuzmich, South Simcoe, 2002. Constable Philip R. Shreve, Renfrew OPP, 2003. Constable John P. Flagg, Kingston OPP, 2003. Constable Christopher Garrett, Coburg, 2004. Constable Tyler L. Boudelier, Grenville OPP, 2004. Constable Michael J. A. Sidock, Port Credit OPP, 2004. Constable Andrew J. Potts, Bracebridge OPP, 2005. Corporal Matthew D.J. Dinning, 2 MP Regiment CFB Petawawa, 2006. Constable John C. Atkinson, Windsor, 2006. Constable Donald J.Y. Doucette, Sault Ste. Marie, 2006. Constable David Munsey, Huron OPP, 2006. Constable Robert J. Plunkett, York Regional, 2007. Constable Alan Hack, Elgin OPP, 2009. Constable Eric Zapnik, Ottawa, 2009.
Chief Superintendent Douglas E. Coates, Ottawa RCMP, 2010. Constable James Ochkovsky, Peel Regional, 2010. Constable Vu D. Pham, Huron OPP, 2010. Sergeant Ryan Russell, Toronto, 2011. Constable Garrett Stiles, York Regional, 2011. Constable Jennifer A. Kovach, Guelph, 2013. Constable John Zivchish, Toronto, 2013. Constable Joseph B. Previtt, Thunder Bay, 2014. Constable Joan Van Breda, Niagara Regional, 2020. Constable Mark Hoving, Manitoulin OPP, 2020. Constable Jeffrey Northrup, Toronto, 2021. Constable Andrew Hong, Toronto, 2022. Constable Devin Northrup, South Simcoe, 2022. Constable Morgan Russell, South Simcoe, 2022. Constable Greg Perchala, Haldimand OPP, 2022. Sergeant Eric Mueller, Russell County, OPP, 2023. Detective Constable Stephen Tourangeau, Perth County, OPP, 2023. Constable Craig Town, Thunder Bay, 2023.
Those united by one purpose, ladies and gentlemen, would you please remain standing for the entrance of the Vice-Regal Party, and please remain standing for the welcome song and the Vice-Regal salute.
Parade, attention! Color parties, shoulder arms! Parade, Vice-Regal salute, present arms! Parade, shoulder arms!
Bonjour et bon matin. Good morning. The Ontario Police Memorial Ceremony of Remembrance is called to order. Your Honor, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the singing of the national anthems of the United States and Canada.
Parade, general salute, present arms! Arms!
Please be seated.
Parade, stand at ease. Color parties, order, colors.
I would now ask Father Jim Mockler to deliver the opening prayer.
We pray and we reflect. Source of all life, compassion, and peace, we gather in this sacred moment to honor and to remember. With gratitude, we recall those who gave their lives in the service of others. As their names are spoken and read, may they be held in enduring remembrance and in the embrace of a love greater than our understanding. Be near to all who mourn and to those who carry forward their legacy. Remind us that though life is changed, it is not ended, and that love endures beyond loss. May those we honor today rest in peace, their duty fulfilled, their service never forgotten.
Your Honor, Premier, Ministers, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, families. Bonjour, good morning. My name is Brian Larkin, and it is indeed an honor and a sincere privilege for me to serve as your host today. Once again, in our 27th year, we carry on the tradition of honoring our heroes in life. On behalf of the Police Memorial Foundation, we thank you and one and all for being present here today at this ceremony of remembrance. The memorial site stands forever as a symbol of our respect, a symbol of our gratitude for the service and the ultimate sacrifice of our 284 fallen colleagues. I would now like to introduce the President of the Ontario Police Memorial Foundation, Mr. Colin Woods.
Bonjour, hello, bonjour. We begin today by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional territory of many Indigenous peoples, including the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people. This land is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are grateful to be gathered here today to reflect in reflection, remembrance, and respect on this land. The Honourable Edith Dumont, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, and your husband, His Honour Mr. Tony Viscardi, thank you for being with us today and for the deep respect you continue to show the policing families across the province of Ontario. The Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, thank you for your presence and for your continued support for those who serve and protect the people of Ontario. Madam Speaker, Minister Kersner, Deputy Minister Di Tommaso, ministers, members of Provincial Parliament, Mayor Chow, distinguished dignitaries, Commissioner, police chiefs, police association leaders, and our partners in public safety, thank you for standing with us today. Most importantly, to the families, friends, and colleagues of our fallen officers, we welcome you, we honor you, we hold space for you today. Today, we gather here for one reason: remembrance. This ceremony is not a formality. It is not symbolic alone. It is a promise. A promise that the men and women whose names are etched into the memorial wall are never forgotten. A promise that their service, their sacrifice, and their humanity live on, not only in stone, but in our hearts and in our actions. To the families and loved ones of the fallen, your presence here today matters more than you may ever fully know. When others see you at this ceremony, they are reminded that sacrifices is not borne by one person alone. It's carried by families, by partners, by children, by parents, by siblings, and friends whose lives were forever changed. You put a human face to the names etched in the memorial wall. You remind us that behind every name is a story of love, laughter, pride, and loss. Your strength, your courage, and your willingness to stand with us in remembrance honors your loved ones in ways that words cannot capture. This memorial belongs to you as much as it belongs to the policing community. And today and every day, we remember not only those who were lost, but those who continue to carry their legacy forward. I want to take a moment to recognize and thank the police services and police associations from across Ontario. Your continued support of this memorial and what it stands for means more than words can fully express. This memorial exists because of your commitment, because you understand that remembrance is not optional and honoring our fallen is not once-a-year obligation, but a shared responsibility that lives within our profession. Through your support, your advocacy, and your presence here today, you ensure that this memorial remains a living place of reflection, respect, and remembrance. You stand beside the families of the fallen, not only in moments like this, but in days and years that follow, when remembrance becomes quieter but no less important. You remind us that policing is not just a job, but a community, one that remembers its own, one that never forgets the sacrifices made in service to others, and one that will always stand together, especially in moments of loss. That loss was felt in 1915 when Lance Corporal John Baker of the Canadian Forces Military Police, who was serving his country during a time of war, was killed while on duty after being struck by a car while directing traffic here in this very city. His name, which is now added to the memorial wall, will forever be remembered. The policing community again felt this loss just this past week when Sergeant Brandon Malcolm of the Ontario Provincial Police died in the line of duty after being involved in a motor vehicle collision. We extend our heartfelt thoughts to his loved ones, colleagues, and all of those who were affected during this very difficult time. Today reminds us of something critically important. It is about every officer who has gone before us, every family that has endured unimaginable loss, every colleague who has carried the grief forward while continuing to serve. For the families here today, this ceremony matters because your loved one matters. Their sacrifice did not fade with time. Their story did not end with a line in history. They are remembered here, spoken of here, and honored here today and always. For the fellow officers and first responders, our memorial is a reminder of the weight of the oath we take, the risks we accept, and the responsibility we carry to one another. And for the people of Ontario, this memorial stands as a powerful reminder that behind every uniform is a person, a son or daughter, a parent, a partner, a friend who chose service over self. Today we pause, today we remember, today we reflect, and we recommit ourselves to honoring the fallen not just with words, but with compassion, support, and the unwavering commitment to those who continue to serve and to the families who carry the cost of that service. May this memorial continue to be a place of healing, remembrance, and unity. And may we never forget the debt we owe to those whose names are etched here and to those who love them. Thank you for being here. Thank you for remembering. And thank you for honoring Ontario's fallen police officers, heroes in life, not death. Thank you. Miigwech. Merci.
Thank you, President Woods. Mesdames et Messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, c'est avec plaisir, it is with great pleasure, I introduce the Honorable Edith Dumont, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario.
Mr. Woods, Premier Ford, Madam Speaker Skelly, Solicitor General Kersner, Mayor Chow, Commissioner Carrick, families of the fallen, elected officials, distinguished guests, chères familles et amis citoyennes et citoyens de l'Ontario, je suis honoré d'être avec vous ce matin. Let me begin by paying tribute to the memory of Sergeant Brandon Malcolm, who died in the line of duty on April 28th. I offer my sincere condolences to his family and friends and to those with whom he served. Sergeant Malcolm made a deep commitment to serving the people of Ontario and Canada with the Toronto Police Services Auxiliary, the Canadian Armed Forces, and the Ontario Provincial Police. Like those whose names are engraved on the memorial wall, he was a hero in life. Every one of the fallen officers who are recognized carried the weight of responsibility found only in service. They made a difference in their communities, and their impact continues to be felt through the generation. This year, we had the name of Lance Corporal John Jack Baker of the Canadian Provost Corps, now known as the Canadian Forces Military Police. Previously, he had received a Long Service Medal as the Royal Grenadier with the Canadian Militia. On December 1st, 1915, he was directing traffic near the military camp where he worked at the Canadian National Exhibition. He was struck by a vehicle and killed. His funeral service took place at his home in Cabbagetown, which he had shared with his wife and their 4 children. A detachment from the 81st Battalion formed the escort as he was taken to St. John Norway Cemetery to be buried with full military honors. The last post was played as he was laid to rest. And now, more than a century later, here in the heart of the city of Toronto, the city he called home, we echo the honor he was given. We will leave today with the responsibility, the duty to remember. Nous avons le devoir, comme citoyennes et citoyens, de nous souvenir. As the representative of His Majesty the King in Ontario, I offer my gratitude to the Ontario Police Memorial Foundation for the work you do in uncovering and sharing the stories of those who are honored. Thank you for bringing us together today. While no ceremony can ever fully do justice to those we have lost, the act of gathering is meaningful. It ensures that the stories of the fallen are spoken, heard, and held in our memory. Through that simple act of remembrance, they remain close to us. Grâce à ce geste solidaire de mémoire, ces personnes demeurent en nous. Thank you. Merci. Chimigwech.
Merci, Votre Honneur. Thank you, Your Honor. It is now my privilege to introduce and call upon the Honorable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario.
Your Honor, Tony, President Wood, Madam Speaker, Great Solicitor General, and Deputy Minister and Mayor, and all our colleagues that are gathering today. And I want to acknowledge just great leadership from Commissioner Creek, Chief Demkew, and all the other chiefs that are here today and deputies. I am going to mention our team that's here because I think it's important to know that a government that's in office is unwavering with the support of our police. We have many requirements, but the number one requirement, you support our police and you never waver from supporting our police. I'm joined here with Minister Cho, Parsa, MPP Sorello, Friend, Coe, Dixon, Gualtieri, Cooper, and Rosenberg, and of course my great Deputy Premier, Sylvia Jones. And again, Deputy Commissioner Larkin, thank you for being the MC today. I want to begin by saying our thoughts with all our colleagues and our loved ones. I want to acknowledge and our prayers go out to OPP Sergeant Brandon Malcolm, who tragically lost his life in the line of duty. As you were saying, Your Honor, that he was a veteran of the Canadian Forces and former auxiliary with the Toronto Police. Sergeant Malcolm dedicated his life to serving our country and his community, and we join everyone across the province in mourning this terrible loss. I want to thank the families of our fallen heroes that are here today. Everyone from Seoul, the Ontario Police Memorial Foundation, and all police officers joining us to pay their respects. Folks, every one of these officers standing here wake up every single morning and put their uniform on to serve and protect our communities. And I just want to thank them. We're very, very grateful, and I know every single resident of Ontario feels the exact same way. Today marks the 27th time that we've gathered for this memorial, and it never, ever gets any easier. Not only are we here to remember the brave men and women in uniform who made the ultimate sacrifice in keeping the people of our province safe, we're also here to show our love and our support. To the families and loved ones of these fallen officers, this year we honor and add a historical name to the memorial. As you were saying, Your Honor, Lance Corporal John Baker of the Canadian Military Police, who in December of 1915 was killed while on duty here in Toronto. Let us now take a moment to salute the memory of Lance Corporal Baker, Sergeant Malcolm, along with all the other names listed on the wall, and show our appreciation for the families of these officers. That we commit to always support the families of fallen officers. We never forget the families who demonstrate such strength and resilience in the midst of loss. And to all the police officers in attendance who always answer the call, who run towards danger when everyone else runs from it. Know that our government will always have your backs. We will never, ever waver in supporting our police and first responders. To the families of Seoul, I promise you that heroic officers who gave everything to protect the people of this province will never, ever be forgotten. And I can assure you, you ever need anything, you call me directly, and I'll be there at your front door to support you any way I can. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and may God bless the women and men in uniform that serve our great province. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier Ford. It is now my privilege to introduce and call upon the Honourable Michael Kerzner, Solicitor General of Ontario.
The poet Mary Oliver wrote, "I don't want to end up simply having visited this world. and those we remember today did not visit. They lived, and we will speak their names. Votre Honneur, Premier, Madam Speaker, Deputy Solicitor General, Mayor Chow, parliamentarians, families of our heroes in life, families of soul, Colin, and distinguished guests. When they lived, they were alive. They walked and talked and breathed everything inculcated in them. They kept the flame of their families lit with them every day. When we face death, we think of ourselves in the wilderness. Those we remember were pillars of the wilderness generation, and with their passing, we feel their absence and sustained presence. Their passing is not only familial, it is communal. They were the embodiment of decency. And that's why today the names still so freshly engraved call out Jeffrey Northrup, Mark Hoving, Andrew Hong, Devin Northrup, Morgan Russell, Greg Parashalla, Eric Mueller, Stephen Tourangeau, and Craig Town. And also in our thoughts, and never forgotten, Lance Corporal John Baker, Sergeant Brandon Malcolm. These heroes in life left their mark and were a relentless force for good, and they lived. The righteous, even in death, are called alive because their deeds and their values and their way of walking through the world lives on. And they understood that a life lived in service by choosing is not a sacrifice, but an honor. They belonged to a profession that measured them by their honesty and oath and courage. And their flash and uniform were an identity of respect, of umbilical and unbreakable strength that has permanently tied them to those who serve today and who will serve tomorrow. Their bravery reminds all of us to stand a little taller, act a little prouder, and love the flash and uniform and flags even more. To nos drapeaux, le Canadien, l'Ontarien et le Franco-Ontarien ont de la significance. Ils représentent la fierté, la valeur de notre diversité et tout ce qu'il y a bien en nous. This is the Ontario we know. Voilà l'Ontario que nous connaissons. In our national anthem, we sing the words, true patriot love in all of us command, a clarion call if there ever was one, to remind us it is noble to serve a cause greater than ourselves and believe in our province, in our country, and in our future that much more. Et aujourd'hui et chaque jour, nous devons croire en notre province et en notre avenir. This is the Ontario we know. Voilà l'Ontario que nous connaissons. An author wrote, even as a boy, I always hated goodbyes. How can we love the people in our lives so deeply and then one day never see them again? Perhaps these moments we share are anything but fleeting, but maybe they never really vanish. Maybe time is not what we think. Maybe memories are as real as the present, and no one we ever loved is truly gone. May the souls of our heroes be bound up in the bonds of everlasting life.
Thank you, Minister Kersner. Ladies and gentlemen, the All Nation Singers will perform the honor song. Ladies and gentlemen, this ceremony of remembrance continues with the laying of the wreaths at the base of the memorial by our honored dignitaries and guests who will be escorted by our Guard of Honor. On behalf of the people of Ontario, the Honourable Edith Dumont, Lieutenant Governor. On behalf of the Government of Ontario, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier. On behalf of the members of Ontario Police Services and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Senior Constable Marlene McLennan, Chatham-Kent Police Service. On behalf of the police officers of the United States of America, Provincial Constable Trevor McKean. On behalf of the families, Lynn Russell and Amy Dowdell. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and join us in an act of remembrance, which will consist of the last post, a moment of silence, the lament, the firing of the salute, and the Ravalais.
Parade, attention! Color parties, shoulder, arms. Parade, general salute, present, arms. Parade, shoulder, arms. Parade General Salute. Present arms. Parade shoulder arms.
If you can remain standing, we now will call upon Father Jim Mockler to deliver the benediction.
Source of wisdom, courage, and peace, we give thanks for all who serve and protect. Watch over those who continue in policing. In moments of danger, grant them safety. In times of strain, strengthen them. In all they do, give them wisdom and compassion. Sustain them in body, mind, and spirit, and surround them always with the care of community. At day's end, bring them safely home to those who wait with love. And may they always know that to those of us who call Ontario home, their service brings light in times of darkness and hope in the face of uncertainty. With gratitude, we remember. With hope, we go forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the Royal Anthem.
Parade General Salute. Present arms. Parade shoulder arms.
Please be seated. Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, merci encore. Thank you once again for your attendance today, for your part in making this ceremony of remembrance a fitting tribute to the lives of those heroes who lived and died and continue to live on in our hearts and in our memories. Shall they always be our heroes in life, not death. On behalf of the Ontario Police Memorial Foundation, the officers on parade, and all of the families and friends here today, we would like to acknowledge and express our gratitude to the Lieutenant Governor, Premier Ford, Minister Kersner, Madam Speaker, Mayor Chow, for their attendance and their continued support. Equally, we would like to recognize at the start of the ceremony the kind and gracious thanks to York Regional Police Chief Jim McSween, Durham Regional Police Chief Peter Morero, and the Ontario Provincial Police Commissioner Thomas Carrique for their invaluable contributions in making the police helicopter flyover a reality and helping us honor the memory of our fallen heroes in such a poignant manner. Madame et Monsieur, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you to please stand. As the parade prepares to march past, I would ask that our guests remain in their seats. Upon the completion of today's ceremony, we would like to invite everyone for refreshments, kinship, and food, which will be set up and served in the northeast corner of Queen's Park Crescent, as well as Wellesley Street. The All Nation Singers will now perform the traveling song, during which time the Honorable Edith Dumont, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, and the official party will be escorted by the Guard of Honor to receive the salute and march past. We would like to invite the family of Lance Corporal Baker, along with the families of fallen officers, to also join in the viewing of the march past. Following the families, the remainder of today's guests are invited to attend. Encore, merci à tous, Miigwech, thank you.
Parade, move to the right en masse. Right, turn. Parade by the right, RCMP leading, left wheel, quick, march!